What strange behavior did you pick up out of habit as a result of a job? I sometimes catch myself facing products on the shelf at the store, all because of 3 years working at Walmart. I do that, not instinctively, but because I too work in retail and 5 seconds of effort for me improves some employees' day a lot. Had a terrible keyboard with too hard to press keys at my last job. Now I type like I'm trying to stick my fingers through the table. The inescapable urge to flatten every cardboard box I see. You were seen flattening boxes outside of the box flattening area. Former lifeguard. I constantly scan and count kids at my local pool. I hate pools thanks to lifeguarding. It's just a stress fest to be there anymore. Teacher here. I push chairs in. Don't care where the chair is or who owns the chair. I am pushing in the chair. I occasionally bus in the restaurant where I work and I do the same thing no matter where I am. A chair nobody is sitting in about to sit in should not be out from the table it belongs at. The customer service voice. Higher pitched than my normal voice. Softer. Absolutely absent of the conversational quirks and curses I use in my day-to-day life. I like to dust it off fuse with particularly difficult people. There's not much better than telling a difficult customer to go suck a million dongs and choke to death on the last one with a bright and cheery and you have a great day. I used to work in a casino, and there was a rule that you had to rub your hands together then show them open palm to the security cameras before and after touching money or chips. My job was to collect and count the money, so I did this a lot to say the least. Sure enough, I started doing it unintentionally in real life and wasn't able to stop until I'd quit the job for a few months. Blackjack dealer here. Can't touch cash without clearing my hands. All money in my wallet has to be facing the same direction. Can't take any object, money, silverware at restaurants, etc. directly out of people's hands without them setting it in front of me. Casino life has made my personal life so much more complicated. Cook here. Saying heard when someone says something to me. Also shouting behind or hot while I'm behind someone so they don't bump into me while I walk by. I'm with you on this. I would audibly say corner while walking around bends in the bus terminal. I worked at Taco Bell for a while. Years later I still roll my burritos their way. Also did Wendy's for 4 years and I always build my sandwiches white, red and green order, which was part of a training video there. I fly helicopters for a living. Every once in a while, I'll be driving my car down the road slightly distracted. Then when I start to refocus on the road ahead I see a set of power lines ahead. Instinctively, I kinda duck and get a quick surge of adrenaline. Haha. Then I remember I'm in a car and I feel stupid. I've done that. Had a miniature panic attack when I realized I was about to go under the power lines. I feel wrong saying 0 instead of 0 in number segments. For example, if the clock says 10:05 I'll say 5 after 10. I had a really weird boss and it was a huge pet peeve of his. He'd stop whatever he was doing to correct me. Is 0 a number? Do you know the difference between letters and numbers? It's been almost 15 years since I worked for him but I've been doing it ever since. I probably would have started saying something snarky like the hour is 10, the minute is 5. I started working in corporate America about a decade ago. I didn't consciously make the effort but the way I spoke began to change subtly, tone and vocabulary primarily. In order to adapt to my new environment, I spoke in a more measured tone, softer and began using words I previously did not. I didn't really notice the change until I spent time with an old circle of friends after significant time apart. They all sounded like Spicoli from Fast Times to me and they poked fun at how I now spoke. I'm having a hard time matching the comments to the username. It wasn't a job but I used to be a junior volunteer firefighter. We have these alarms on our SCBA gear that will go off if you stop moving for 30 seconds in order to alert everyone in a building there is a downed firefighter. We used to have to stand around a lot during training, so these things would go off all the time and were really hard to turn off with gloves on. So to prevent this you would have to sway side to side and back and forth just a little bit to keep this from happening. This really messed with me when I joined the army, as I would always be swaying a little bit when standing in formation. Drill sergeants would always think I was nervous. In other words, you had a NPC idle animation. I worked in executive recruitment for a while, and even though it's been years and my current career is entirely unrelated, I still can't keep myself from trying to help people finding the right job for them, and to help companies take on practices that will help them retain customers, clients, employees. I have to actively remind myself to just walk away when there are comments about people who never catch a break. Cause as much as I want to share with them things they can do, those complaining are not interested in hearing those things. I imagine it feels like I'm saying they didn't try hard enough, so I do my best to avoid commenting. I instinctively hold my breath while walking down hallways. I work with a really smelly person who doesn't shower or do laundry, so I developed a habit of not breathing when I pass by so I don't vomit. I started yelling corner while walking around in public places after working in a kitchen. It's actually pretty amazing how dexterous kitchen workers are if you don't announce that you're coming around. I've had a lot of potential collisions avoided just because we're used to someone possible being in the way. I don't know if it's a strange habit, but I'm really good at writing upside down as a result of tutoring people a ton. Teacher here. I have the same otherwise useless talent from working with my students. I work in the office of a train yard. I picked up our vulgar version of the NATO alphabet, and now often express my indifference by making air jerk-off motions. Several times I've caught myself jerking off an invisible dong while among polite company. Visual merchandiser at a couple higher-end clothing stores for, like, 15 years. I fold and organize my boyfriend's and my wardrobe like my life depends on it. Each painstakingly square folded shirt is identical in width to the one above and below, and color coordinated warm to cool, obviously. All pants folded butt out, crotch tucked in, wovens, bet your butt they're hung, faced, fully buttoned, and sleeves rolled. My bedroom looks like J. Crew in an unsettling way. I also moonlighted as a happy hour columnist for a major newspaper in my 20s. I picked up raging alcoholism from that one. And here I am with 2 hampers, clean and dirty. Raising my intonation at the end of a sentence, as if I'm asking a question, even if it's not a question. My old boss did this and many of us picked up on it, unconsciously, and started speaking the same way at least some of the time. It persists among some of us, years later, even though the original company no longer exists and most of us haven't seen that boss in ages. I say potty instead of bathroom a lot. Also, I spell out important words sometimes. I worked in a preschool for a very long time. I'll find myself spelling out things I don't want the very literate adults around me to know. I was around my campus for 2 years in an all-male freshman dorm. Every night there was someone on duty, which meant they did rounds and carried the duty phone, which people could call if they had a problem. Well, whenever the duty phone rang, it meant something bad was happening that needed to be dealt with, so we all developed this natural aversion to the duty phone ringtone. The problem is that the ringtone was one of those stock tones that a lot of people have on their phones. So even though I've been out of the scene for 2 years, I visually cringe when I hear that ringtone in the wild. The Pavlovian alarm response is a real danger. I had a stock alarm noise as my wake up for like 3 years. The iPod Touch's bree 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 klaxon. Turns out they use it in TV shows and movies as a generic alarm noise, which nearly gives me a heart attack every time, even 6 years after I stopped using it. Working in customer service made me apologize for everything. Random lady bumps me with her cart, oh I'm sorry. Stylist forgets that I cancelled my appointment weeks ago and calls me to tell me I was a no-show. Oh I'm sorry about that mix-up. Cashier misunderstands what I was asking for, sorry about that. They train you so much to be apologetic and it's taken over my life. I hate it. I worked as a nursing assistant and we had to knock before entering any room. Even if the door was hanging open and or you knew it was empty, such as a bathroom when the occupants of the room were right behind me. I haven't worked there in 2 years and I still knock on door frames in my own home. The best is knocking on the door on your way out of a room. Oops. Postal employee, you wind up sitting next to me on a lengthy car ride. Prepare to be told the zip code for every town we pass. I can't perform this trick for Idaho. In the entire time I've worked for the USPS, I've probably seen like 3 pieces of mail going to Idaho and never seen anything from there. If I'm having a slow day, I'll tell customers that Idaho doesn't actually exist. Other than that, I'm basically Mail Lady McGinty from The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Submariner here. The weirdest is probably how I wash my hands. Water conservation is huge on a submarine, so to wash my hands I turn the water on just enough with my hands, turn the water off, get the soap, lather up, then rinse using just enough water. Same concept applies for showers and brushing teeth. I do take nice showers when at home though. I also tend to yell down if I drop something down the stairs in my house to warn anyone who may be at the bottom. Anytime I'm anywhere and a loudspeaker announcement is made, I instantly stop my conversation, but usually remember where I am and continue. Every set of numbers must be spelled out. For example, 1969 is 1969. If I don't hear something, I always say again. I can't say what come again or anything else. I can fall asleep anywhere during anything, but if you stand next to me and whisper Jim Bob final wake up, I'm out of my slumber instantly. Oh yay, and the profanity. I can be creative, but I'm able to turn that one off. I was told at my new job I had to cut down my military jargon because it was making the customers nervous. I didn't. I can't. That crap is there forever. I still stand at parade rest when talking to anyone higher than me. Everyone is sidearm arm, knife hand, clear left, clear right. When driving, my girlfriend picked us up, also I love it. 10 years of retail have left me with this weird social interaction habit where I become a social dynamo in a work environment. I'm introverted as frick, have been all my life, a social F. But put me in a retail store and a switch goes off in my brain and I became Mr. Popular. I find it mentally and physically exhausting to do though. Me too. I kind of just want to be alone most of the time, but also need to make that dollar sign. Even though I bust my butt, I think I mostly tire from the social interaction. I'm a paramedic, and when I'm in my personal vehicle and arrive somewhere, I'll automatically reach for the mic to radio dispatch saying I'm at my destination. I've also accidentally used 10 codes in my off hours, like instead of asking someone to repeat themselves by saying normal things like excuse me or how, I'll say 10-9. That I've definitely gotten some weird looks. I'm a nurse. All the time on my days off I'll instinctively reach toward my right front pocket in search of an alcohol pad to clean something dirty. I used to work with toddlers and was in the habit of cutting all of their food into small pieces. One night the guy I was dating grilled steaks and I instinctively cut them both into little pieces without thinking while he was finishing up the other things outside. When he saw it, he was not happy. That's actually hilarious. I was a pizza delivery gal for about a month in 2015. Now whenever I'm driving and have to brake hard, I still reach for the pizza in the passenger seat. I did this once out of instinct with my girlfriend in the front seat. We ended up avoiding a collision, but I did not avoid grabbing her breasts. We weren't at the stage in our relationship where that was okay, so I started apologizing. Luckily she found the whole thing very sweet. I worked as an order filler at a distribution center. When I wanted information on the headset repeated, I would have to say again into the mic. Now when I need real people to repeat things to me, I ask them to say again. Counting everything by 5s or just immediately grouping things into 5s in my head. I work in a pharmacy. I've gotten real close to putting an X on a jar of peanut butter. Answering the phone with my name instead of hello. So, when my phone rings, I pick up and say Sparky speaking. My mom makes fun of me for it every time. Letting people talk for ages while contributing little. I'm a journalist, so I go on a date and ask a leading question. They answer. Normal date crap. But this is often combined with the Sir David Frost rule, that you give a few seconds of lag after someone stops talking to see if they are actually done talking. In journalism, this is usually where pertinent material comes out. It's actually how Frost exposed Nixon. But this habit has crossed over into actual dating. So I'll ask a guy about what he likes to do for fun, and then when he stops I give a bit of pause. Generally they start elaborating, and thus a what do you like to do around here turns into how he quit drinking for a spell, made up with his dad, but still hates his job but feels so castrated at the moment. A you come here often turns into a massive dive into how he is kinda jealous of his sister's wedding and wishes his family would also celebrate accomplishments important to him, like buying a home. Sometimes it's helpful. I once let a light-hearted convo lag and the guy told me some women deserve to be beaten up and also hates all his exes. Mostly I'm told I'm a good listener, but generally I leave those dates realizing they know nothing about me, and I know way too much about them. I picked up chronic depression and a burning hatred for people during my time at McDonald's. Hey, me too. A decade in the military has left me with language that effortlessly spews out profanities and other vulgar terms and words in an endless stream. I don't even have to think about it. I have to make a conscious effort to turn it off around certain people. That and the goddamn knife hand when pointing at something. I've been out for almost a decade and I still do that crap. I answer my personal phone as if I'm still at work. Security monitoring. This is Vic speaking. How can I help you? The doc's office is so used to it by now they don't even pause before continuing as if I've greeted them normally. After working in a bar and constantly talking to different people, I started using different words instead of mate constantly. Now I'll often say cheers bud pal man etc. Haven't quite got to using bro dude yet. I'm not that cool. I work retail. Now every time I go to a store I start putting stuff back where it belongs. I don't even think about it, I just do it. I do this and I never worked in retail. I'll even run all the way back to one side of the store just to put an item back. Marking X's on anything I open and use. Pharmacy life. I used to work doggy daycares. At the grocery store I put the plastic produce bag over my hand, pick up what I want, and then pull the bag over the produce and tie it. This is what 2.5 years of picking up dog crap has done to me. We use radios at work and sometimes I'll try to press the non-present button on my shirt when talking to people from a distance. Even with a phone charging cable or laptop cable, I always wrap them up with the over-under method I do with lighting and audio cables as a stagehand. It's not the worst habit to have. It's a habit I notice in a lot of people working where I work, not just myself. It's also mostly younger people, also like myself. There's always anxiety to always be looking busy, finding something to do, or even making work if there's even a second of downtime. It stems, I think, from having to work in retail and food service where if you were caught resting for a second you would be reprimanded. If ya got time to lean, ya got time to frickin' clean. Now grab a mop ya craphead. I have horrid anxiety at work despite working there for 3 years and always hearing people tell me to calm down. It's fine, however I'm sometimes stuck in my old ways of trying to get as much done as quickly as humanly possible. The military has forced the need for clear and concise communication. No time for games. Tell me what you want, I'll tell you what I want, and we will move from there. That and repeating back orders. You have been visited by the fashion doggo. Comment your envy strengthens me so you always look beautiful. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.